Hey everybody, my name is Lindsey Kirschman and I'm here at the University of Utah working as the Director of Sports Performance for women's basketball. I absolutely love my job and every athlete that I get to work with, but when I'm not here, I'm outside exploring the mountains of Utah, whether that's hiking, trail running, mountain biking, camping, hanging out with my two Great Danes, or anything in between. So I just thought I'd take a few minutes to introduce myself in this video as part of the first Phorm outdoor staff search. I think one way to briefly describe who I am is to give you a little taste of what my core values are. And so what I'm going to do is just share my 3 core values and provide you a little story that illustrates how each has impacted my life or shows up in my life. So my 3 core values are freedom, courage, and adventure. And I think all 3 of those are kind of facets of the same gem. But I'll share some stories with you to kind of explain a little bit further. So when I was really little, I was best friends with my cousin, and she was better than me at most sports. And I idolized her, and I just looked up to her in every way. And she got a longboard for her birthday. And I think I ended up riding that longboard more than she did. And so I became really good at it. And we would have races. We'd time each other around the block to see who would win the longboard race. And that kind of became the first thing that I excelled at compared to my cousin. And so my uncle actually bought me my own longboard for my 12th birthday. And I turned 36 this year, and I finally retired that same board. I had been riding it for over 20 years. It had become my kind of symbol of freedom. Before I had my driver's license, was the only way I could escape from the pressures of home when my parents got divorced, and I just kind of wanted to get out of there. My only limitation was my own fatigue, and so I could go as far and as fast as I wanted to, and no one could really stop me or chase me. And I had no limits. And so that was kind of my first taste of freedom. And I still have the same board. I just now have to ride another one for personal safety. But that's still something that I love to do. With regard to courage, I think you can't really have freedom unless you have the courage to be honest about who you are, what you believe in, what interests you, and what you need and what you want out of life. And so those 2 things kind of play into each other. But I've always craved challenges. Ever since I was really young in gymnastics, I remember when I became the best gymnast in the gym, I switched gyms so that I would no longer be the best athlete. And I think that decision took a lot of courage even as a little kid, because now I'm going to be chasing somebody. I'm not the best. But I knew even at a young age that the magic happens outside of your comfort zone. And the second that you're not being challenged is the second that you stop improving. And that was never something that I wanted for myself. Later on, I started running. And as a track athlete, of course, I picked the most challenging physical event you could choose, which is, in my opinion, the 800 meters. It's that perfect blend of aerobic and anaerobic fitness. People call it, the masochistic event. It's just a 2-lap gut check. And that was what I excelled at because I just learned how to suffer well. I valued pushing myself, and I actually enjoyed that process. After a couple years of college, I decided to get into horsemanship. I was always interested in horses, but I never took horseback riding lessons. Nobody in my family had horses. So I applied to be a wrangler over the summer and teach horseback riding lessons to little kids, even though I had never taken horseback riding lessons myself. And I was super honest in the interview. And I said, hey, I have virtually no experience. I just have a huge passion and interest for this. And I'm a pretty good teacher. So if you teach me, I can teach them. And I did. I did that for a summer, and I learned a ton. But again, that's another example of something that I didn't necessarily feel prepared to do it. It took some courage to make that jump, but I did, and I reaped the rewards later. Career-wise, I've had to take leaps of faith a lot. So when I first started working, I majored in forestry. I've always been an avid outdoors woman. I've loved everything about the great outdoors and nature, whether it was learning about soil science to scaling a mountain. That was my jam. And my goal was to work with wild horses. So I was in my master's program studying range science, the ecology of grasslands, but I found myself sneaking out of my lab every day to go volunteer coach with a high school. And so finally I just figured, this might be a change of plans, but it seems like my natural instinct and my calling and kind of what I'm compelled to do is to work with young people and to coach. And so I stopped that program, moved to Colorado, completely started over, got my master's in education instead, and started teaching and coaching, which I did for about 10 years at the high school level. And then came to another crossroads in my life where I felt like I was again pressing up on this glass ceiling of my capacity. Like I had done everything I could possibly do in the position I was in to better myself and to better the athletes I was working with. And I needed to make a change. And it took a huge chunk of courage because I had to take about a 50% pay cut and start completely over. Moved to Arkansas, which was vastly different from where I grew up, California, where I went to school, Washington, and where I had been working for the past decade, Colorado, and start making next to nothing but coaching college athletes. And so I did that. I took that leap of faith, and about a year later, stepped into the opportunity to coach where I am now, which is at the University of Utah, coaching Power 5, Division I, Pac-12 athletes here with the women's basketball team. So I think whether it's having a critical conversation, making a gutsy career move, or, asking someone to critique me, choosing a hard version of a workout, or, simply walking into church holding my girlfriend's hand, I think I value courage in all aspects of my life, and it's what I respect the most in other people, and I do believe that's where the magic happens, is outside of your comfort zone. So I intentionally seek that out constantly. And finally, adventure. This is where everything kind of comes together. Your life is not going to be very adventurous if you don't have courage and you don't value a sense of freedom to explore. And because I value both, my life is very adventurous on a daily basis. I am never bored, and I pride myself on never being bored. Whether it's choosing new ingredients to use in the dinner that I'm making, or going a different way on a trail that I'm running, or trying a new sport for the first time, be it rock climbing or mountain biking or anything like that. I just choose adventure. I choose to lead an exciting lifestyle every day, and nothing is mundane to me. Everything is an opportunity to experience something new. And that's part of the reason why I love that hashtag experience more, because I think that most people in this world barely scratch the surface of what they could glean from experiences that they have or could have if they just had a little bit more courage and took a little bit more initiative. And so I like to help other people, follow that lifestyle too. To kind of sum it up, I think, at the end of the day, as a coach and as someone who influences people, I'm really just a leader. And as a leader, if I can't answer the question, why should people follow me, then I really am not follow worthy, and I probably shouldn't be in a leadership position. And so I've been thinking about that. Why should people follow me? Why would people follow me? And I really think the secret sauce is a short list, of ingredients. And the first one is that you have to build trust. I have to build trust, and I build trust by living a life that matches what I value. So I'm sitting here telling you that I value freedom, courage, and adventure. So you should be able to observe my life and know that those are three things that I value, whether it's in what I'm posting, how I'm speaking, how I coach, hanging out with my friends, being with my family. Wherever I am in my day, those three things should show up for you to be able to trust that I'm genuine and authentic. Next, I need to believe in people so hard in a genuine way that they start to believe in themselves. And that's really where the magic starts to happen. Because if the people who I'm leading believe in themselves, then I can challenge the snot out of them, continually in different ways, over and over and over, forever. And it just creates this positive feedback loop, because if you believe in yourself and I've challenged you and I'm encouraging you and I'm modeling, how to challenge yourself and pursue goals, and I'm alongside you on that journey, and you achieve your goal and you realize that challenging yourself is fun and exciting, then you're going to do it again and again and again, and you're going to have more belief in yourself. And then the ball just keeps rolling, where eventually you don't even need me anymore. I was your guide, and now you know the way, and you get to look back and ask questions or ask for new ideas every once in a while when you need some inspiration. And ultimately, that's my goal, is to be that person who establishes trust, is a trustworthy person, believes in people wholeheartedly and genuinely, helps people believe in themselves, and then challenges people by the way I live my life and the way I lead, so that I can empower you to make a difference in your own life and in the lives of other people.